Right now, Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
Thank you, Ken. Welcome, everybody, to the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. I'm your host, Josh Taylor. In tonight for Bob Pompiani, and we have quite a bit to talk about. Most of it's football-related, I will warn you. Let's start with the Steelers, of course. We are less than 24 hours away from seeing football again on the North Shore because tomorrow the Steelers open the preseason at Heinz Field against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And this is a game where you're not going to see a lot of the big faces. Ben Roethlisberger's not going to play in this game. Mike Tomlin's already made that clear. A lot of the veteran players that we're used to seeing probably will not play in this game. And he's made it pretty obvious that there are going to be a lot of lower guys on the depth chart that we are going to see getting reps in this game. And Mike Tomlin talked about how he wants to be able to see how some of these lower level guys, these lower on the depth chart guys, and see how they react in a game situation. He wants to see how they deal with situational football, particularly the quarterbacks. We know Josh Dobbs is going to get the start tomorrow. So we're going to see a lot of Josh Dobbs. We'll see a lot of Mason Rudolph, and we're going to see how those guys react to game situations. 2-minute drill is one thing that he said has been used a lot this week in practice that they're really focusing on. So there's going to be a lot of things that they're going to look at with some of these lesser-known guys in those game situations. So, of course, the big-name guys, even the ones that will play, we probably won't see a lot of them. But all the same, we could still talk about it. We'll still have your questions, 412-575-2600 on the Borders and Borders hotline. Give us a call. We'll still talk some Steelers, even though we might not see a lot of the bigger-name guys in this game tomorrow night. But all the same, we can discuss it. Not to mention, there's a lot to be discussed as far as the depth chart, and there's a couple different positions where I look at the depth now as opposed to the depth last year, and I like it. I like what I see. I think that they fixed a lot of the problems that they had in years past at those positions. I look at the depth at corner. I think it's better because now it's Joe Hayden and a guy like Steven Nelson who has 4 years in the league. And he's a guy that the Steelers have had their eye on since he came out of Oregon State. They really liked him in the draft coming out that year when he did. So we know that they have some experience now, at least some notable experience on the two starting corners between Hayden and Nelson. So then you have Artie Burns and Mike Hilton and the Brian Allens and even the Justin Lanes of the world who they drafted in this draft. So now you see these guys that are not necessarily the top guys, but they're still having opportunities to fight for spots that they're probably better slated for. I would probably prefer to see Mike Hilton as a slot corner, whether it's on one side or the other in a 3 or 4 receiver set. I think that makes a lot more sense to me because you get to see a guy like that do what he does in that position, and I think that's where he excels. I'd love to see what Artie Burns might have to do in a slot position and see if he can actually sink or swim there because, let's be honest, the time is starting to run out as far as whether or not he's still going to be in a Steeler uniform. So that's another thing that you look at. The safety position is something that intrigues me. I think Terrell Edmonds, having all the experience that he had last season, he played the 10th most snaps of any player in the league last year as a rookie, as a first-round pick. That's a lot of experience to glean from. He had to learn a lot on the fly. He had to fail a lot on the job to figure out what he needed to do. But I think this year you'll see a bigger leap from him. Maybe not similar to the TJ Watt leap from year 1 to year 2, from going from pretty good rookie to Pro Bowl level player, but it could be a pretty good leap as far as him being a starter that becomes a lot more reliable. And of course, the linebacker position, you feel a lot better with the additions of Devin Bush, and also you make some pretty, I think, logical choices with Devin Bush as far as him being a guy that they've been able to trust quickly and have him get into calling the defense and have him already moving around and directing traffic and knowing guys where guys are going. And it helps when you bring in a guy like Mark Barron who has that veteran experience and also has a good projected role that he can slot in easily and do well there too. So now you have 3 guys with Devin Bush who can do it on both sides of the field and go sideline to sideline. Mark Barron can do the same thing in the sub package. Plus Vince Williams is a pretty good first and second down linebacker who might be able to help more in the run game as far as blitzing from that inside position. So now you have guys that do different things and they're not pigeonholed into just one area. I think that makes a lot more sense for the depth on defense. So there's a lot more you can get into with this team looking up and down the depth chart. Who are some of the guys you're looking at in camp that you might see tomorrow night? Who catches your attention? We'll talk about that too. 412-575-2600. We'll take a break. When we come back, we got an update from the Xfinity Sports Desk, and we'll take some calls and we'll answer some tweets at Josh Taylor HD. See you in a few.
The Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call is brought to you by Ireland Contracting, celebrating 25 years as Pittsburgh's #1 home exterior expert in roofing, siding, windows, and gutters, where honesty and integrity still matter.